Hey guys, so Bitcoin is currently at 7,500 at the time of recording. I wanted to share my thoughts on whether Bitcoin will reach $10,000 by the year's end, as well as sort of touch on the last video I shared about my thoughts on where the market is. So in my last video, I predicted that Bitcoin, after the controversy of the cancellation of SegWit 2x, I predicted that Bitcoin would drop down to $5,000 or 5,000 to 5,500. Now we did see Bitcoin drop down to 5,000 and the bulls coming through, and there was a big bounce off 5,000 and we're quickly into 5,700, and we started seeing a massive rally back up to where we are now. In this video, I sort of want to cover a couple of things. So the first one is my thoughts on Bitcoin price prediction in the short term, my thoughts on the whole coin market capitalization, so as per coin market cap. Also want to discuss Ripple and their partnership with American Express, as well as Dash. So firstly, with Bitcoin, I believe even though we've seen a little retrace from 8,000, we've seemed to we've held above the last previous high of 7,650, roughly around there. And I think this is important because as long as we stay above this price, I believe that we will continue to rally and test the high of 8,000 that we recently hit, and then sort of pursue further onto 10,000. Now look, I believe that the $8,000 high, or even 7,500 we reached previously, already factors in the CME Futures and the announcement of possibly having institutional investors coming into Bitcoin. So they're saying there's $100 billion on the sidelines, and a lot of these investors aren't investing because of they don't have legal means to put large amounts of money while abiding to legal regulation in the US and in other parts of the world. Now, more recently, there was an article about the CME having sort of concerns around the volatility and whether they'll continue with this, as one of the largest exchanges, BitThumb, actually went down for a little while. And when all this large amounts of money is invested onto these exchange, they need a certain level of reliability on these servers, right? Also, seeing the controversy around Bitcoin 2x, more recently we've also seen Bitcoin Cash have a bit of the spotlight. So wow, like, did you see Bitcoin Cash go from $900 to 2,800 in a pump and dump fashion? So the only time I've sort of seen this before in such a short time frame in something in a larger market cap was Zcash early in the days. As I'm sure it's happened with other altcoins, but that really reminded me of Zcash. However, Bitcoin Cash is backed by big guys like Roger Ver and a bunch of other guys. So to see that pump and dump was a bit of a worry, and it did look like Bitcoin was going to drop down to 4,000, and Bitcoin Cash almost reached parity with Bitcoin. So that was sort of interesting. And anyway, it's back at 1,000 now, and I think there is a bit of interest around it. There is a bit of controversy there, and we can see that the miners and investors are willing to put money in there. And yeah, look, the other thing I sort of wanted to touch on was I've taken a bit of an interest in Ripple, especially recently, it breaking its previous resistance of 22 cents. The reason for this is its recent announcement with American Express and their FXIP, or their foreign exchange international payments. What this means, I think this is quite big news for Ripple, and we saw a spike up to 30 cents, and then it sort of retraced a lot of its profits or gains since. However, it's still holding above 22 cents, and I've taken a small position just to see where things are going to go. I think there will be further announcements before the end of the year or the end of this quarter, and it's definitely a coin you should have on your watch list and keep an eye on. I think there is going to be some big news around that, and yeah, look, what else has been happening in the market? So we've seen Dash take a bit of a spike. It had a quick run up to 480, I believe, and it's currently sitting at 400. Whether this is manipulation or its growth through the adoption of the 2 megabit or increase in blockchain that Bitcoin has been trying to achieve is up for debate. But yeah, I'm not too sure about Dash. I haven't got any investments in Dash, but I'm keeping an eye on that one too. Yeah, so what else? So if we look at the coin market capitalization as a whole, we've seen it rise as much as 15 to 20%. So we've reached an all-time high of 230 billion. So in the span of 2 weeks, we've gone from 195 billion to 230 billion recently, and I think this is only going to continue to rise. However, I am a bit wary of a bit of a retrace. I've still got a large position in Ethereum, and that has unchanged. It's sort of taken a bit of a rally to 330, but we're still seeing it in that 300 to 330 mark. Both Ripple and Ethereum look like they're poised to break out, but really it's pretty obvious right now that the attention is still on Bitcoin. Personally, I think for Bitcoin, $10,000 by the end of the year is something that's just going to happen. The only thing that may stop this from happening is further announcements around the CME and like greater concerns around setting up these CME futures. But honestly, I think the price at the moment, around 7,500, already factors in the CME futures. However, I think it's not so much the CME futures as much as the implications of the CME futures being announced. What I mean by this is, think about it this way. I believe CME futures is going to set precedent for other institutional investments, right? And what this means is more money from hedge funds that will follow suit. So I guess a good example of this is you can look up Man Group. They've got $100 billion ready to invest and follow CME. And I think this is just the beginning, right? And we'll see futures for Ethereum, we'll see futures for other large coins, but mostly the focus is on Bitcoin at the moment. What else? So I think that's about it. I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on that. I think anything under 7,700 is still a buy for Bitcoin at this point, as I think we'll honestly see in a favorable position $10,000 by the year's end, and in an unfavorable position I think we go back down to 6,500 and we rally there for a little while, and we see a rally for the altcoins. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll post a new video this time next week, and thanks again. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out my other videos. Thanks, guys. See ya.